Mama. Mama. Mom. 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 Mom.
Mom.
Being a mom is a full-time job.
Some days you wonder if you're even going to keep it together.
But you're not alone.
Because we've got your back.
We're single moms talking about parenting, divorce, dating,
And everything else in between.
I'm Julie.
And I'm Jesenia.
This is Splitting Upward.
Hello.
Ooh.
That was interesting. Hello. Hello. Hello.
It's like the hills are alive with Jesenia today.
I know. I'm in a musical mood.
Oh, we're always in a musical mood. That's why I said we should totally do a musical episode.
Yes. I mean, I don't know how we'll do it, but I don't know. Maybe some amazing
get the
artist.
Naked cowboy to come in. Have you seen him?
Yeah, he's terrible looking.
But he's kind of super fun.
I got a good look at him, and it's like,
well,
man, I really thought you'd look better than that up close.
I'm sorry. If you spent your days half naked in Times Square sucking up all of that exhaust and tourist spray, you're going to look funny. And he looked funny.
By the way, hi, I'm Jesenia.
Oh, there's that. I'm Julie.
Hi.
How
was your week?
My week was great.
Yeah?
Thank you so much.
Anything exciting
I
happen
actually did
that
go
you
to,
can remember?
There's
without the ginkgo biloba.
Don't ask me what I had for breakfast, but we actually went to theater. I mean, that's one of the joys of living in New York City is that you get to go and experience all these amazing things. But the old man whose phone went off right at the climax of the play, he should never be allowed to go to theater again. I think your theater card should get revoked.
He should be blacklisted.
Beyond, we were so angry.
Maybe it was an emergency.
It was not, because when he answered the phone, yes, it rang, and then he answered it. It was on speaker.
Yeah.
So we heard his wife, Morty.
Oh my God.
Morty, when are you coming home? Oh,
Morty.
Hold on. I got hold on. And everybody, shh. Oh, it was just
Hang up the phone.
Somebody needed to rip it out of his hand. But anyway,
Oh my
so
gosh.
it was a great week because we got to see this incredible show.
You always have some kind of situation when you go to a Broadway show.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with me. I'm just living it. I just am.
That's what happens. You're like all like in really close quarters. You know what I mean? All the seats are real tight. And so, yeah, you smell each other. You're around each other. It's like they should redo the Broadway. But then again, they won't be able to get enough people in there if they make the seats bigger.
Do you have a favorite theater snack? Like when you're going to theater, is there a snack that you love to eat?
Wine. Pretty much. Makes the show better.
She chews her Merlot, people. Okay, I mean,
wine.
yeah. Okay, but not like a crunchy, chewy. Like, are you into
maybe like
a
an M&M or
crunchy-
something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you plain or a peanut?
Peanut.
Yeah, see, that's my girl.
All about... Oh. I was going to say all about the nuts, the peanuts.
Things are getting wild here, kids.
I'm just going to say it. You know what I mean?
Because why wouldn't you?
They'll bleep me out if they need to.
Do they have that power?
I'm sure they do.
You know they do.
Everybody does. Everybody does. So, okay. All right. So I was reading this article.
We're going to get real now? Oh.
Yeah.
All right,
we're going to
fine.
get real. Okay.
Yeah, tell me
So
about it.
men who take paternity leave are less likely to get divorced. So why don't they?
Right.
Why don't they take it?
Well, if you think about the the logic behind it, it makes a lot of sense.
Yes, of course. Because
Right?
you're helping your wife in this specific situation.
So here's...
Or husband.
Would you, and I'm just thinking, because obviously this is a show about single moms, by
Yeah.
the way, so it doesn't necessarily pertain to us, but if, like I'm thinking now, like that's a great thing. Like if I gave birth, I'd stay home for the first 3 months.
Yes.
And then have my
Yeah.
partner stay home for the next 3 months so that the baby would be home for 6 months with
100%.
a parent.
That makes sense. Because I could only, when I had my son, I could only stay home for 3 months. And I finagled my way into getting my full entire paycheck, not just half or
Oh,
just
wow,
like a
really?
percentage. Yeah.
Well, this was before
I was in a very sensitive position at the time because my husband wasn't able to support us. My ex-husband, and I was pretty much the breadwinner in the house, you know what I mean? And I'm like, how am I going to live? How am I going to pay my rent? And how am I going to afford a baby? You know, I was like crying, meeting with my boss, and luckily it was a woman. She didn't have any kids though. So I was the first one in the company to leave for maternity leave.
Oh, so maybe she was a little more open to it because you were the
she
first?
said, look, please stop crying. That was the first thing she said.
Always use tears.
Yeah. And
Very effective.
please just stop crying. Don't worry. I'm going to figure this out and we'll figure it out. And I said, okay, cool. I left. I thought, oh, no, I don't know. She called me back in later in the day and she said, yeah, I'll give it to you. Full check.
Wow.
Yeah. But you still have to claim your what is it? Disability.
Right.
Partial disability is what you have to take.
Okay. But she covered
At the time is what I took.
That's amazing.
So yeah.
Okay,
So I just signed off the check to them, and it was a great thing. So I got lucky. But what my point was, it would be nice if my husband had like a good job and taken and taken leave.
Right.
Because that
well,
would
it's
have
hard
been
because he worked for himself.
Yeah.
Right. So it's hard because my
well, no, at the
ex-husband,
time he
same
did
way.
not work for himself.
Oh, okay.
Look, it's a big drama. So, but that would have been nice, 3 months me, 3 months him. But no, my son had to go straight into daycare at 3 months old.
Ay, pobrecito.
Oh my gosh, I wanted to die. So, okay. So if you're a man and you're out there and you're wondering what you should do for your wife, after the baby is born, please, if you're listening to this, or if you're a mommy and it didn't really even dawn on you, mama, please tell your man he has to take paternity leave because it's possible.
Right, because now, New York has a great, very,
or find out about the Family Medical Leave
Act. Yeah.
Family Medical Leave, FMLA is the acronym.
FMLA.
So, okay, the children of dads who took at least 2 weeks paternity leave were also found to feel much closer to their fathers.
Well,
of course.
Yes. Not everybody gets the ability to do it, but if you have the possibility of taking leave, do it.
Listen, if you're in a relationship, and your partner is spending more time with the child than you because you feel like, oh, well, they got it. You're not doing the parenting thing well here. You're messing up. You should be both equally in this child's life. It shouldn't be, one more than the other.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense.
Right. And I know it's complicated because sometimes, like I left my career so that I could be home with my kids.
Yeah.
And we were very, we were terrified.
Yeah.
But we agreed that this was something. I didn't have it growing up. My mom was a single mom.
Right.
So I came home to an empty house a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't want that for my children. And my ex-husband, his mom was home until the children were old enough for her to then go back to work. So we made a conscious decision. Let's try it and see what happens.
Right.
I can't imagine, and again, very blessed. Like I say it over and over again. I can't imagine not having been there. Even just for the I used to keep a baby journal.
Every little thing.
And it was the same thing every day. Bottle, nap, bath, bed.
Holding the bottle. That was one thing that I didn't get to experience the first time. He was still he was playing me, my son. He wouldn't hold the bottle himself whenever I would feed him. So one day I'm at the daycare and I'm giving him a bottle before I leave off to work. And she's like, "What you holding that bottle for?" She was very sweet. Miss Jackie. That's her name, Miss Jackie.
And you're like...
And I said, "What do you mean? I'm feeding him." And she said, "He could hold that bottle himself." I said, "What?" She said, "Yes, let it go." So I let it go and he picked it right up. And I said, "Look at that. He's playing me." But, that was still mommy and baby time. He was a little baby. I loved it. But, kids will play you that way.
But it makes a lot of sense because a lot of arguments, sometimes that end up leading to divorce is the division of labor in the house between partners, right? So if you have the opportunity, to stay home and help your spouse, or baby mama, baby daddy, however you want to do it. And it's now there's a study showing that you're less likely to get divorced. You're a moron if you don't do it.
You're a moron.
Maybe you are just a moron, but we're trying to fix it. We're trying to help you here.
If you want to make your marriage work, especially if you have a bunch of kids too, that's a plus.
Yeah.
I
hope you don't have a bunch at the same time.
I mean,
because that's rough.
It happens.
I mean, mine are all 3 years apart, but still,
Twins,
it was
triplets.
hard. What was that? Octo mom?
Oh, the Octo
Where's
Mom.
she? Anybody know where she is?
I don't know. We should have her on the show.
Because I think she's a single mom. Hey,
she is a single mom. Ain't nobody gonna hook up with her. Nobody in their right mind.
Oh, come
All right.
on. Maybe the kids are grown up now?
No, I don't think so. I think they're still kind of young, maybe like 12, 13, maybe. Ooh, teenagers, 8 of them.
Yeah. I got 3 is enough.
We should check up on her welfare at this point.
Somebody, hey, do me a favor. Can we do a little Google search?
Is she
while we're
all
on,
right?
and then you send us the signal. Let us know that she's okay.
Right? Somebody.
And then let's send her a basket.
Oh my gosh.
Send her a gift basket. I mean, seriously, could you imagine? All right, like we talk about dating, like as one of those things that we do, right? We talk
all the
could
time.
you imagine like going out into the world and be like, yeah, hi, I know, I'm new to the dating scene.
Really?
I've been
You
busy
are?
with my kids.
Oh.
Yeah, but I'm super excited to meet you.
Oh yeah, I'm excited to meet you too.
Yeah, and so one of the things that you should know is that, so I have kids,
Oh, okay, that's cool.
8 of them.
Oh, bye. That's it.
Done.
Gone. All you see is smoke.
Done. You don't even get to that
No,
point
you don't get
where you say, do you have any STIs I should know of?
Oh, well, that's a very important question.
See how I did that?
That's an
Right?
in-person question, though.
Oh,
It's not like an online, hey, how you doing? You have any STIs?
Wait, that's what do you mean? That's how it goes. Like this. It's like, yo, want to knock boots? Yeah. Any STIs? That's not how yours go? Maybe
No.
that's why mine don't work. Jeez.
Well, if you're talking about knocking boots, then yes, you have to definitely 100%.
Oh, thank you
Oh,
so
they
much.
just
We
said
do.
that the Octo Mom is alive.
She's alive.
And the kids are 10. They're not
Oh my
teenagers.
gosh.
So in 3 years, we're going to hit her up again.
And
And we're going to, yep.
Thank you,
Thank you so much, Gelvin.
person behind
for letting
the
us
curtain.
know that.
Oz. We're just gonna call you Oz. I love it. So yeah. So no. I've been single for a while, and so a lot of times I have friends who are newly single. Who'll be like, all right, what do I need to know? And I. This is one of the biggest things that I've said to my friends, men and women. You need to talk about STIs before STIs and STDs before you even get in there. Right?
Before you have sex.
You need to be able to have the conversation with someone and be able to say to them, so when's the last time you were tested? And if you're not comfortable enough even asking that person that question, you have no business sticking your parts in them or letting them stick their parts in you.
Right.
Hear me. I for real.
Yeah.
I remember in high school, I'll never forget it, they did a sex ed assembly.
Mm-hmm,
And
always.
so when the school psychologist was up there, loved her, Miss Hotbed. You're the best.
Miss who?
Hotbed.
Hot Fed?
Yeah, it's like a Germany name.
Oh,
There's some
interesting.
silent A's and D's in there.
I thought her name was Hotbed. I was about to say, what?
She,
Hotbed.
she had a thing. But so she's trying to talk to us all, and she said, and I will never forget it, if you're not willing to share a toothbrush with someone, you should not be having sex with
But
them.
that's nasty, though.
Because it's disgusting. But if you think about what happens when
But I
you are
wouldn't
having
share a
relations with people.
toothbrush with my child, even.
Well, no, because kids are, cesspools.
I think the toothbrush was a lot, Miss
Kidding.
Hotbed.
I love my kids. My kids are clean. It's all good.
But I still won't share my
No.
toothbrush with them.
But it makes you kind of go, ooh, I don't know that I would want to. But so the scary thing is now is you've been married for 25 years, right? You haven't had to really worry about it unless your partner's a cheating fool.
Yeah.
You haven't had to worry about it. But now you're out in the field. You have to pay attention.
Yeah. It's back on your radar. Has to be.
Chlamydia.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens.
It happens all the time.
And it happens to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so there was an article that came out on CNN, and they're actually working on a chlamydia vaccine, which is kind of fantastic, right? Because what I didn't know and actually our engineer, way to go, Aaron, he knew that chlamydia is the most common sexually transmitted infection, which I was astounded to find out, because you kind of think, oh, it's syphilis, it's gonorrhea. No, but it's chlamydia.
Right.
And so now they're working on a vaccine, and 131 million new cases a year. That's a lot
I believe it.
of chlamydia.
It's a lot of sex happening.
I know, but which kind of makes me happy. But so that's the thing. You have to be prepared to have that conversation with someone.
Yeah, you do. I mean, here's the thing. Maybe people don't worry about chlamydia or like syphilis or any of those. A lot of the STDs are cured by a pill,
right?
You know,
Cream,
a lot of
whatever.
them,
yeah.
Except for like herpes and I think genital warts and of course,
HPV,
HIV,
right?
You know what I mean? So I think a lot of people just kind of live that life of, if I get something, I'll just go to the doctor, take a pill, I'll be fine. But a lot of the times you don't know if you have it.
That's
it's
right.
kind of dormant in your body.
That's right.
And so now, especially as a woman, if you let that settle in your body for too long, you end up getting HPV,
right,
which can lead on to cancer. So those are the things that have to run through your mind. Yeah, fine. It can be cured with a pill, but I need to take care of myself because long term, you don't know for sure
right,
unless you get regularly tested, which you should.
HPV, there is a vaccine now, and they recommend it for boys and girls.
Yeah.
And so my kids have had it. When I became single,
yeah,
and even though it wasn't approved, I was in my 30s. It wasn't approved for anyone over the age of 26. Mm-hmm. But my doctor and my gynecologist were like, just do it anyway. Mm-hmm. And so I'm grateful that was an option available for me. I mean, now look, I'm going to share a little bit with you.
Yeah,
I'm going to get vulnerable.
Share.
I'm going to get vulnerable
Share.
again. I have been in a situation
mm-hmm.
with a person
mm-hmm.
where we were starting to have a little fun, right? We were getting down to business.
Yes.
And there was something where it shouldn't have been. And I was like, what's that? It's the vein. That's no vein.
Aww.
You need to close that up. You need to go see a doctor.
Yeah.
Bring me back a clean report. We can have all the fun in the world.
Yeah.
So that's why, like I said to my older son who had a girlfriend, I was like, you get down there.
You have
you
to
look.
check. Yeah.
You investigate.
Well, you should ask before, like you were saying. You should talk about it, have the conversation.
Right, but so that's what I'm saying. I talked about it. I asked, and I got I'm all good. I was just at the doctor.
Get the proof.
Look before you get in.
But real quick before we go away, because STDs is like, it's huge. I've done shows about it before on other platforms, and the one thing that you have to realize is people don't. A regular Pap smear won't test for herpes. You have to ask for the herpes test. So please, in your next Pap smear test, get tested for herpes, because that's one of those things that a lot of people have and they don't know. I think it's like one in 3 people have it or something like that.
But it's also tricky too, because HSV1, that's up here. HSV2, that's down there.
And you can have either or.
It almost doesn't matter.
It can alternate.
But if you've got a cold sore, don't kiss anybody. Don't touch anybody.
Cold sores are
down
herpes,
there.
by the
Right?
way.
Same thing.
FYI, just real quick, I was watching a Dr. Oz show, and he was talking about herpes, and he had an old lady in the show, and he called her up, and it was an older woman, and so he said, "Oh, do you have herpes?" She said, "No, I don't have herpes." He said, "Oh, okay, all right. Well, do you ever get like a cold sore or something?" She said, "Oh yeah." Is that the old lady coming to haunt us?
Things are breaking
years
in
ago.
here.
She's like, "Why you telling my business?"
So things are getting thrown. So what we're gonna do?
And we're gonna go to a break.
We're doing a Q&A extravaganza. We're gonna be getting to all of your burning questions, because if it burns, not only should you see a doctor, but you should listen to us. So we're gonna be right back.
Wait. I want to finish. Finish the.
All right, finish.
So
the story.
he told her.
I
He said, "Honey, you have herpes."
Horrified.
Horror in her face. So a lot of people don't know that. Listen to questions.
And this is a big one, right? Because we have so many questions. We're actually going to do listener question extravaganza.
Yes. This is a show we're going deep into your minds, and we're going to answer your deepest, darkest questions.
Like reaching in.
Yep.
Grabbing some
There's
intestine.
nothing we won't answer.
Pulling it out.
Yes.
No, we're not doing that.
We're going to go in. And we're going to go in with our first one. Okay, ready? Are you ready, Jules?
I think I am.
Okay, cool. You look ready.
I
Here we go.
I felt like we should say,
It's like a giggly
if
show.
you want to ask us questions, you could do that. Just hashtag us, ask splitting upward. But now, listen.
All right, here we go. Alex from Connecticut.
Hi, Alex.
My husband and I are about to become first-time parents.
Yay, mazel.
He's reading every baby book and child psychology book possible to prepare. And he's mad that I haven't been. So how much reading prep is too much? Okay. Well, I read all the books.
Oh, yeah.
Because I have one. I didn't have any others before my son. I only have one child. I didn't really know what to do. You know, I've babysat before other people's kids as a teenager.
Right.
But that's nothing.
No, because that's all about the snacks. You know that.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you got to be the cool one, you know? Yeah, I didn't really know exactly what to do or like how to prepare myself and my mind and all of that. So yeah, I read all of them. What is it? The
what to expect.
What to expect when you're
Right,
expecting.
You gotta do that one.
And I also got the Mayo Clinic. Back in the day when I had my boy, the Mayo Clinic actually had free parenting books.
Oh.
Yeah, from inception all the way up until your child was a year old. So, and it's a lot like the what can you do,
Right.
I mean, what to expect when you're expecting, but
More clinical.
this one was more clinical, yeah.
Mayo Clinic.
Yeah,
Clinical.
had
See
a
how I
lot
did
more
that?
pictures. It was bigger.
The illustrated
Oh,
version.
I love them. I love them. It's like, what does it look in the sack when it's in your?
Right. Ooh,
It's
you're the size of a
crazy.
peanut today. You're the size of a walnut now. You're the size of a
Oh my
small
gosh!
grapefruit.
I was so like, first of all, when you're pregnant, it's like an alien experience. You have a person inside of you. It's awesome. Literally the coolest thing in the world. So as I'm reading, I'm like, oh my God, this is happening to me. Yeah, I was one of those, I love being pregnant people.
And me too.
Yeah.
I don't know that there is too much reading. I think you read as much as you're comfortable with. If it's starting to make you anxious and starting to make you super nervous,
Yeah.
then you need to back off. If Alex, if your husband is shaming you for not reading enough, tell him you are busy cooking. Literally in your belly and STF you. All right? Because let him do the work.
Yeah. Well,
too.
here's the thing. I mean, if you're willing to read up for your job, you know, but you're not really willing to read up for the person who's growing inside of you, then maybe you need to see a therapist about the whole situation.
Give it right here. Amen, sister.
Yeah, because you're doing a very important job right now, and you have to know what to expect when you're expecting. You know, you have to know these things. If you don't know, you're just, you know, you're going to do something wrong. You're going to eat some shellfish, and you're going to be messed up. And yeah,
It's good.
Don't eat shellfish.
He's getting involved. Let him.
Yes, that's wonderful
Period,
that
end
he's
of
doing
story.
it. Good job, Daddy.
Thank you, Alex. Now we have a question from Danielle from New Jersey.
Hi.
Danielle says, I'm a mom to a 7-year-old boy. Let me tell you, I read this question ahead of time, and it pissed me off.
Okay,
So I'm so ready.
All right,
Be
here we
ready.
go. Here
Be
we
with
go.
me. I'm a mom to a 7-year-old boy. One of my friends feels it's appropriate to reprimand my son for me when we're hanging out if he's being a bit hyper. She also happens to be a mom. I'm uncomfortable with her thinking she can do that when it has nothing to do with her or her own child. Am I wrong? So really what you want to say, Danielle, it's not that you're uncomfortable. It's that you're freaking pissed because she's sticking her nose where it doesn't belong. And I think what needs to happen the next time your nosy-ass friend decides to tell you or tell your son that he's misbehaving, hold up, friend, my kid, I can handle it. If you have an issue, we shouldn't be hanging out. I appreciate that he's maybe bothering you, but he's not doing anything wrong. He's just being a kid. Back off. Okay? I felt this one in my core.
I want to know how long they've been friends. If it's like a close friend, then that's cool. Because I'm always like, look, if you're a close friend, you're like my family. If my kid is annoying, I'm probably in 100% agreement with you. Please, I give you all the, just don't curse at my kid. You know what I mean? So
Well,
that is number one in my mind.
That's going to get you a hand across the face.
Yeah, that's going to get you like, listen, you got to leave. You got to leave now and don't ever come back. But if it's a close friend, yeah, I feel like why not? If they're around you and your child a lot and you're friends and you know you guys are like good friends, like best friends or whatever, why not? Mommies need help, you know? We can't all do it alone all the time, you know? And sometimes you do need somebody like on your side saying, yes, listen to mommy. Do not disrespect her, you know, pick that up. And sometimes kids will listen to a friend more than the mommy sometimes, you know? Depends.
I mean,
especially if it's a guy.
If you're trying to save the kid from drowning or touching the hot burning oven, fine. Then you can scream, "Hey, Timmy, leave that alone." Yeah. But if Timmy's just being a little bit, you know, hyper and bouncing around and annoying the shit out of you, I get it.
Yeah.
But it's not your place to, in my opinion.
Yeah, if she doesn't like it.
Not your place to discipline someone else's kid.
If you don't like it, you know, you go with your gut. Your gut is we always say this, your gut is one of your brains, you know, your second brain. So definitely speak to your friend, tell them about it. If they keep on doing it, then don't hang out with your friend. You need a new friend. There you go.
All right, there it is.
All right, next question. We're going through them.
Hey,
we're going through them.
Because you wanna have answers to these questions. We want to help you.
This is all about you guys. All right.
Extravaganza.
The next one is from Charisse from New York. Hey. Ooh. All right. What's the right age to talk to your kid about the birds and the bees? My 11-year-old son has started asking questions. I was hoping I'd have more time.
Oh, everybody collective violin for Charisse.
Charisse. Okay, listen. Speak to them when they ask you. When they ask you, you give them the answers. That's all. That's when it's the right time.
Unless.
Oh, boy. Unless.
Because we all know kids are discovering their genitals long before they can really put it to a question. Mm-hmm. Right? So even before 11, sorry, boys. My boys... Jeez, I told this story the other day, actually. My youngest, in the womb, we went to go get the 3D picture done because, you know, super cool. Yes. You can get that 3D picture done.
Yeah.
The only reason we found out he was a boy is because he was holding his junk in the womb, had his hand wrapped around his junk. Sorry, honey.
He started early up in there.
Let me tell you. So that's a thing. So I think there's
you just blew my mind. My mind went somewhere right now, and I don't know where it went. I'm like, do they do that in there? I don't know.
There's a picture. It's a sonogram picture.
Wow. Okay, sorry.
So no, point being that kids are going to discover their genitals long before they're ready to have a conversation about sex. But so I think it's appropriate to have conversations with them about private time. Mm-hmm. And private parts, and making sure that
private time. What's private time?
You know, do not stroke yourself when you're sitting at dinner with grandma.
Oh,
all right?
I see.
Because that happens. Because once you figure it out and it feels good, you want to just do it all the time, and you're not old enough to know that it's not really appropriate. That's private time. That's when you go into the bathroom, you go into your room. When you're alone, then you can take care of your business. So Charisse,
or now you know,
get into the business as soon as they start asking questions, but certainly start having questions about when it's appropriate to touch yourself. And
a boy,
and how
we
and
know
when
boys, and we know girls too because we are them. So a boy is definitely going to ask you about his erection from very little, because most of the time it's uncomfortable for them. They don't know what's going on with them. So that's a good time to bring all that up for sure. All right, next question.
One more. From our favorite listener, Anonymous.
Anani.
How are you?
Hi, Mama. Hi,
so
Mom.
Anonymous says, my 5-year-old daughter turned out not to be mine. Damn, call Maury.
Oh.
Apparently, my ex-wife cheated on me before our divorce. I've raised her since birth and still love her. That's because you're a decent human being. Yeah. But feel so heartbroken around her now. Should I break contact with her or will that mess her up? Anonymous.
Don't do that.
Why? I mean, why would you even ask that? At the moment, this little child thinks that you are her pops.
Yeah.
You got to stick around.
Yeah.
Even though she's not yours, you still love her. That doesn't change anything.
I think if anything, you can be honest with her. I know somebody who kind of went to this same situation, and they didn't tell the daughter that the father was not her biological father until she was already like a teenager. Wow. Yeah. And she took it pretty well, but she did say, why didn't you guys tell me? You know? So I think just be honest. And I think it's very empowering to know that this man is not your biological dad, but he is there for you.
Right.
It's very empowering as a woman to have that experience, from a man, to have that feeling from a man that, oh, wow, that's great. He's here for me, no matter what. And he's my dad, and this is what a dad is.
Right, and he's sticking around even though he doesn't really have to.
So you're great for doing that. And if you want to have the talk with her and just, kind of just like work it in little by little and let her know that, maybe you guys, you are not her actual biological father. If she understands that yet, then yeah, do it.
Stick around.
Just be nurturing and loving. That's all.
And
that's all a parent is.
I absolutely, whether you've given birth to them or not, biological or not.
We have more questions on top of questions on top of questions.
Ooh, 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 ooh.
What?
Like Horseshack on Welcome Back, Kotter.
Oh.
You didn't know where I was going with that.
No, I didn't know that one. I didn't know that. Damn.
He was a sweat hog. I'm a sweat hog, but it has nothing to do with the fact that I didn't do well in school. It's because I'm sweating, because I'm freaking perimenopausal, and I can't not sweat. Okay? Thanks for being here on the journey with us into single motherhood.
Yes. We have more questions.
Yes.
From you guys. Okay, Emily.
Talk to me about Emily.
Emily wrote us a little bit of a paragraph, so bear with. All right, Emily. My husband and I divorced a few months ago. We share custody of a 5-year-old daughter together. The divorce was very amicable, no drama at all, but I wanted to have my daughter see a therapist to make sure she's handling everything okay. My husband says, this is where I lose her. My husband says doing that what? Okay, her husband's obviously against the therapy.
Yeah.
He feels like it will only make things weirder for her. He refuses to let her go to therapy. What do you think? I agree with your husband. If everything is cool, you just keep an open communication with your little girl or little boy, your little girl, sorry, then I think everything would be okay. Some things just don't create the drama for yourself.
So I'm a big proponent of therapy. I think therapy is
awesome.
Amazing.
It's not a bad thing.
And I think everybody should do it at some point in their lives. Some people should do it more than once. Some people should just sign up for the lifetime, order. I think if the kid is showing any sort of signs that are not typical to a 5-year-old,
right?
All right, then maybe you want to talk to your pediatrician. But I worry that having the kid going and sitting down with a stranger, 5, they're not really in a position to be able to share. If you wanted to, the 3 of you, maybe go sit down with somebody. Maybe if you really are freaking out. But it sounds like, honey, you should see a therapist.
Boom. You hit it on the nose.
And this is, I'm not shaming you, honey. I love you and I'm glad you're here, seriously. But I do think that maybe you need to have a conversation with someone and figure out what's going on with you. That I know you're trying to do best. Divorce is hard. That's why we're here, because we know what it's like, and you are not alone. Yeah. And so what you're doing, it sounds like you're projecting a little bit of your business onto your kid.
Right.
Okay. So start
projecting,
there.
That's the word.
And as long as she's doing okay, then leave it be.
100%. I completely agree with that.
All right. So good. Thank you. Moving on.
You're welcome.
And I want to do this one right because it's from Joy in New Hampshire, and my mom's name is Joy.
Oh, that's your mom's name?
It's not my mom who wrote this question, unless it says, honey, why are you still single? Then it was my mother. Sorry, Mom, I'm working. I really am. I keep swiping. My fingers hurt.
My mom's trying to give me dating advice, and this is not the question, by the way.
It's not the question.
My mom's trying to give me dating advice. It's like, Mom, you haven't had a date in oh my God, over 30 years.
Doesn't mean she's not an expert.
She's not, though. She's not. Okay, let's.
So Joy from New Hampshire says, my 6-year-old's a super picky eater. We know what that's like. Every night at dinner, he throws a fit about whatever he doesn't like. Once he starts a temper tantrum, it gets his younger sister all riled up too. So to make things easier, I usually give up. Joy. How can I be more strict with him without every dinner time turning into World War III?
Put cheese on it. That's
everything. Or ketchup.
Cheese or ketchup.
It's one of those things.
Well, honey, depending on what you're eating.
You've talked about the honey
cheese,
thing before.
Ketchup, honey. Ketchup not so good for you. neither is cheese. Honey's probably better, but.
So we get that he's a super picky eater. There's usually going to be one thing the kid will eat, right? At least one. It's probably going to be a chicken finger, a mac and cheese, a burger, a corn dog, or something or other, whatever. Find the one thing.
Make
right?
sure it's healthy, though.
Make
you don't
sure
want his cholesterol going
right,
up.
That's true. But so make sure you give him a little bit of one of the things that he likes.
Yeah.
But you do have to set rules. You are not throwing a tantrum at this table. We sit down and you look over and you see that it's that green bean casserole that you hate, you keep your mouth shut. Because you know what? I put dinner on the table for you. You be grateful. I'm not going to force you to eat it. That's not the kind of parent I am.
Put cheese on it.
I'm going to ask you to try it. But you start throwing a fit, we're going to have a problem. Right? So there is a way to behave at the table. And
that's very important to teach them at home, first of all, because if you go out for dinner somewhere else, at anyone else's home, at a restaurant, you don't want them doing any of that.
No. And that's kind of one of those things.
You got to nip that in the bud.
And maybe you can do some positive reinforcement. Yes. You know, say, hey, if you take a bite of this, then I'll let you have another biscuit or, you know, whatever. Figure it out. I mean, it's a little bit of bribery, but you want to.
Sometimes you got to bribe them to.
Right, but you want to try to do it in a healthy way.
Yes, for sure.
And, you know, threatening we know doesn't work. We actually had an episode where we talked about that.
No, threatening does not work.
But it's all about the behavior here. So there's an expectation of how to behave at the table. So start from the behavior part of it, not the eating part of it.
Right. Because if that's the major thing that's pissing you off, Mom, because, you know, it pisses you off, then you have to figure out how to, you know, sit them down, talk to them, get them together. I mean, a lot of kids, it's all about just communicating with them in a way that allows them to understand that they are being an annoyance to not only you, but everyone at the table.
Right.
And that's not cool. If he's cool with a superhero or whatever, then you can compare him to that superhero. Oh, well, you know, Iron Man never does this, or you know what I mean? And kind of relate to him on his level. You always have to relate to your kid on their level.
Yes.
Always. Okay, so there's our advice on that.
Happy, joy.
Yeah. All right, Casey from New York.
Sup, Casey?
Hey, boo. All right. My ex-wife and I have a 1-year-old daughter. We're different religions. And before the divorce, we had agreed to raise our son in my faith. Now that we're divorced, she's changed her mind. How can we come together in agreement? That's
This is a tough one, right? Because if his religion is Satanism, we might have an issue. I'm just saying. No, I don't know. You can believe whatever you need to believe.
It's a 1-year-old. Here's what I did with my son because my ex-husband's very religious. I just let him, and I was too while I was married. It's so weird. And then afterwards, I wasn't. So I didn't force what I was doing on my child. And I always feel like the child will grow and develop on their own. They're going to find their own way, just like we always find our own way. So I didn't interfere in that. Take them to church if you want to take them to church. Now, if it's two different religions, that's where it can be an issue. Like if one is, Judaism and the other one's like Muslim or Catholic, then that's where you have to, come into some sort of agreement or just no agreement at all until the child can become more aware of religion and choose for themselves. But it sounds like she may not be that religious and maybe he is. Or
she's just being nasty because she can. Because now they're divorced and
she's upset.
And she wants to exert some control and some power. That's possible. But I'm pretty sure when you do a custody agreement and you talk about joint legal custody, that religion is one of those things that falls under that purview of, medical decisions, education decisions, and I think religion is one of them. Yeah. So there might actually be a legal component here. So I'm going to hope that it was written into your divorce agreement and your custody agreement. If not, you could certainly see a parenting coordinator and try to get some support there. But like you said,
or maybe like you said, therapy.
there's
Family therapy.
Always that.
You and him can go to therapists together and figure out how to parent and figure out this whole situation.
The baby is a baby. right?
It's 1 year old. It
My
doesn't even
ex-husband
know.
and I, two completely different religions, right? But neither of us are religious.
Mm-hmm.
But what we have done with our kids is we've given them the exposure to both, and they're all atheists.
There you go.
Really how that worked out. So,
Yeah.
but they do like matzo ball soup.
And, so their father is Jewish.
No, that actually comes from my side.
Oh, okay.
Ish. Their father's a former Catholic. I don't know how that works, right? Because he's not
Yeah.
religious, but his family is
But he's a
very
Catholic.
Catholic.
Yeah.
The crucifix in every room, that kind of thing. So they eat sausage bread, which is delicious, by the way.
Go to therapy. Or keep listening
answer.
to our show so
That's
you can
gonna be-
loosen up a little bit, Mama.
Yeah, seriously, that's a little bit of that.
Tell your ex-wife to listen to our show. How about that, Casey from
Yeah.
New York?
And even though we've managed to answer lots of questions, I'm sure we've created some too.
Yes, 100%.
So feel free to
If you have a follow-up.
send us your questions. You can DM us on Instagram at Splitting Upward or tweet us #AskSplittingUpward.
And how can they reach you, Julie?
You can reach out and touch
My
Instagram.
Instagram.
Julie on the mic, Julie on the MIC. Ooh, sounded like I was starting to rap right there. Julie on the mic on Instagram and Twitter. And you, Jesenia?
Oh, well, I can be reached on Instagram at Jesenia Grams, on Twitter at Jesenia Tweets, and on Facebook at Jesenia Book. I got to have all different ones. I got to be difficult. You have just one.
You're expansive.
I was trying to be clever.
I'm
you
trying
know?
to be supportive, right?
But hit us up.
Don't
any
hit us.
question? Don't hit us. Hit us up.
Hit us up. And you can subscribe to
Yes.
Splitting Upward anywhere you subscribe to podcasts.
Everywhere.
And you should do that because it would make us happy.
Whichever platform you're comfortable with.
Right.
Or go to mom.com for articles and advice and us.
More,
and all
more
that other good
parenting tips
stuff.
and stories, but all your single mom journey right here with Jesenia and I on
On
Splitting Upward.